I'm a truckin' across the USA. Yeah, I'm truckin' just about every day. Yeah, I'm truckin'. So what you got to say? I'd like to hear it today. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I'd like to hear it today. Trucker John, OTR. Tuesday, Thursday, live streaming on YouTube, 9 a.m. Pacific time. Won't you join me, please? From somewhere in the United States of America is Trucker John OTR. Who knows where I'll be live streaming from? It could be a rest area. It could be a truck stop. Or maybe even a Walmart parking lot. That's right, every Tuesday and Thursday, 9 a.m. Pacific time. It's the Trucker John OTR live stream. That's right. It's going down. It's going down.
You fucked around with your vote? Now it's time you found out. Am I the asshole for cutting off my sons financially after they voted for Trump? I, 52 male, have two sons, Isaac, 22 male, and John, 20 male. My wife and I have always leaned left politically, and we've raised our kids to value equality, compassion, and critical thinking. We've had countless family discussions about politics and the impact of policies on people's lives. So you can imagine my shock when I found out after this last election that both of my sons voted for Trump. It came out during a casual family dinner when I asked, "So, who'd you guys vote for?" expecting them to either dodge the question or name one of the candidates aligned with our values. Isaac shrugged and said, "Trump. His policies just make the most sense right now." John chimed in, "Yeah, I mean, he's about protecting the economy. People like us need someone who gets that." I stared at them, stunned. "People like us?" I asked. "Boy, you've never paid for a single tank of gas, let alone rent or tuition. What exactly do you mean by that?" Isaac rolled his eyes. "Dad, I'm studying business. Trump's pro-business. It's not that deep." "It's plenty deep," I snapped. "You're backing someone who's gutted protections for the environment, undermined health care, and actively targeted marginalized communities." John shook his head. "You're just looking at the negatives. He's strong on immigration and keeping jobs here." The conversation spiraled into a heated debate. I couldn't understand how they, having grown up with every advantage I could provide, could support someone who champions policies that harm so many people. That night I thought about how much my wife and I had sacrificed to give them opportunities. I worked extra hours to cover their tuition so they wouldn't have student loans. I paid for their gas, car insurance, and even groceries. And this is what they choose to do with that privilege? A few days later, I told them my decision. "If you want to support Trump's policies, you should also live by them," I said. "From now on, you'll need to cover your own tuition, rent, and living expenses. Maybe then you'll understand the real-world impact of the policies you are endorsing." Isaac was furious. "Are you serious, Dad? You're just cutting us off because we disagree with you politically." "It's not about disagreement," I said firmly. "It's about accountability. You voted for someone who's against student loan forgiveness, so take out loans. You support someone who doesn't believe in raising the minimum wage, so get a job that pays what it pays and figure it out." John looked hurt. "You're being petty. This isn't how you change someone's mind." "This isn't about changing your mind," I replied. "It's about giving you a dose of reality. FAFO ain't just some cool hashtag you and your little friends use. It means there are consequences to your actions. Political choices have consequences. You're adults now. It's time to act like it. You fucked around with your vote. Now it's time you found out. My wife thinks I'm being too harsh. She worries this will damage our relationship with them long term. She said, they're young. They're still figuring out their beliefs. Beliefs have consequences, I told her. They made a choice. Now they'll learn what that choice means. Some of my friends agree with me, saying it's a fair wake-up call. Others think I'm letting politics come between family and being unnecessarily cruel. So, am I the asshole for cutting off my sons financially because of their political choices? You know, you got a good point. I don't think you're the asshole. I think you're going to let them find out what they fucked around with, their vote. And voting has consequences.
What? What'd you say? Something about Trucker John or something? Didn't quite catch that.
I like to keep pistachios in my cheeks for later.
Trucker John is about to start, so prepare yourself for some titillating conversation. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the moment you've been waiting for, Trucker John. Hey there. Hopefully, no nude shot to begin the show with. That's good. Hey, if you guys can hear me, let me know. But give me a good old thumbs up in the chat. Make sure I do see a green light, so it should be on, should be going. But just in case. But yeah, good morning. It's 11:24 a.m. here in the Pacific time zone. I do see a thumbs up from Aaron. Thank you so much. What is this? 2 days after Thanksgiving, right? Today's Saturday, so yeah, it's been a couple days. I just got in kind of late last night from my visiting my kids down in SoCal. Some of you watched the live stream. I actually live streamed just about the entire trip, about 20 miles south of Vegas, I guess is where I turned on the live stream, 20 or 30 miles, and got all the way up to Big Bear with it. There was a few times it cut out here and there, but we lost the signal, but it came back in. So I want to thank everybody who went along on the ride there for that, and thank you guys for being here today. It looks like Rosanna was first in the chat. Rosanna. Rosanna says good morning. Good morning to you too. And we got Shannon Tigre here, not trying to be critical, asking me why do I use House Sparks photo or whatever. I usually do that when I do the I do two times a week. Thursdays I do a House Sparks pre-show hangout, and where we go in before the house show. And on Saturdays I do an after show hangout where after House Sparks. So I usually put his photo in there to tie that in, where it ties in. We're doing a pre-show hangout or we're doing an after-show hangout, and it evolves around how Sparks' show. That's why I do it. Apparently, Shannon is not a fan of that, and I'm sorry about that. But I do thank you, Shannon. Nonetheless, whatever. I thank you for being here. I know you do come in. I don't know if you're still here right now, because this was a couple hours ago when she posted that. But I do appreciate you coming. I know Shannon is a regular watcher and contributor to the chat. So if you're here, thanks. And if you're not here, thank you anyhow, and I hope you come back. Let's see, Brooklyn, New York 471 is here. We got Brooklyn in the house. Non-useful is here. Non-useful's got a didn't vote for Hitler 2.0 T-shirt. Just arrived. Time to go to the MAGA Mart to test it out. Wish me luck. Well, yeah, good luck on that. Non-useful. You'll probably be getting some interesting looks at you. Hey, Teresa TAK is here. Good to see Teresa. Thanks for joining us here in the old driver's lounge. We got Ichabod Deer. Ichabod Deer is here. Thanks, Ichabod. Thanks for coming in. Good to see you, as always. Wes Webb's here. Hey, Wes. Good to see you, Wes. Aaron West. Wait, we got Wes Webb, Aaron West. I was,
Whatever. Uh, hello, everybody. That's so good to see Aaron. Thanks for one half of the mod squad. Trying to sip a little coffee there. I got a little snack. I buy these little things at Albertsons. I really like them. It's almost like a s'more, but not melted. It's got like chocolate and it's got marshmallow and like a little kind of, it's almost like a graham cracker type of thing in the bottom. That's really good. All right, Susie Jones is here. Hey, Susie, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Hi to Susie. Hey, Jolie's here. So now we're at full mod power. Susie Jones says nearly perfect likes. Button is lonely. Oh, like, yeah, so we got 40. Well, I'm not sure if my iPad updates, and I'm afraid to touch it. Like I've had to do every show for the last few weeks now, in order to have a chat filter where I can go to all messages. Every time I start it up, I gotta delete the YouTube app, go into the App Store, download it again, and then I've got the ability to go to all chat. And then from there, I'm afraid to touch anything, to like try to update it or whatever, like the count, because it has 47 watching, 19 thumbs ups. But I don't know if that's accurate, but in any case, make sure you hit that thumb up for me. It helps get us out in the algorithm. If you could hit that thumbs up, that would be great. Let's see, who else we got in the chat? Deborah Murphy's here. Hey, Deb, good to see you. Cian's here all the way from the Netherlands. Hello, Cian. Good to see you there. Wes Webb says, ice cream is one of those things that I can do without if I have to. Just don't take away my bacon. Bacon over ice cream. Yeah, because I like both. I do like both, but, you know, bacon, I like bacon. I like bacon. That's a tough one. I'm sure I eat more bacon than I do ice cream, but, you know, whatever. Let's see. Ichabod Deer says Trump chooses ex-con convicted felon, served jail time for setting up his brother. Trump selects Jared Kushner's father, Charles Kushner, and ambassador to France. For ambassador to France. Yeah, it just continues, doesn't it? The old, the shit show here. The shit show that is the Trump administration. You know, just watching Hal Sparks, you know, and then Phil Inter comes on, and really brings home the consequences of voting for a convicted felon for president of the United States. Phil Ittner's over there, you know, trying to bring awareness and keep awareness around the world, and especially back to America, what's going on in Ukraine. And this is a real war, and this isn't you know, this ain't no disco. And he's right there, and he said I could die, and that was chilling, right? That was kind of chilling to hear. And I think we've always known that, but and he hasn't really said that too many times before. But today it was like serious. It's like it's like the shit's getting real. And when he said I could die any minute, I mean, because you know, Putin is threatening to launch these ICBMs and stuff, and those are big bombs, and you can load them with. It doesn't have to be nuclear, but you can load them with all kinds of fucking warheads and shit. And it's just getting really, really real. And by not electing Kamala Harris as president and getting in, not only just a grifter, we know he's a grifter, we know he's a con man, we know he's a liar and a cheater, but what we also need to emphasize is that Trump is a traitor. He is a Putin loyalist. He's a Putin puppet. And I would love nothing more than for Trump to prove me wrong on that. Prove me wrong, Trump. Okay, I'm calling you out, Trump. You're a fucking traitor. You're Putin's puppet. Prove me wrong, Trump. Prove me fucking wrong. Back Ukraine. Finance Ukraine. Keep them in this war. And do whatever you can to hurt Russia, as far as, you know, sanctions or whatever you can do. I was watching that video that I read, that video clip in the opening there, with about the letter, about the guy cutting off his kids, I guess financially, because they voted for Trump, and the wife's response was, "Well, they're just young." Well, I was young once too, and I can say, and I've done lots of stupid things up to this day. To this very day, I still do a lot of stupid things, to tell the truth. But at least I can go to my grave with the fact that I never voted for Trump. I never voted for Ronald Reagan. I was young. That was my first election, that 1980, that I could vote in, and I can die happy or whatever. Or maybe I don't know if it's happy, but I can say with pride or whatever that I never voted for fucking Ronald Reagan. I've never voted for any fucking Republicans ever, and I never, sure as fuck, didn't vote for Donald Trump. At least I can take that. At least I got that. I've done a lot of stupid shit. Believe me, to this day I still do stupid shit, but at least I got that. At least I got that going for me. At least I got that. Yeah, so we got Izolda. Hey, Izolda's here. Good to see Izolda's in. Hey, yeah. The big dog. Big dog NC is here. Hey, big dog. Good to see big dog in the driver's lounge over here. As we hang out for a little bit. Christina Weibel's here. It says, I can relate. I live with my dad in Florida. He found a house for my sister and her husband and gave them the down payment for that house. They voted for Trump, or for Rump. We have cut them off. Yep. I hear you. Big Dog says, Trigger John loved the Christmas lights. Oh yeah, I did a little another video up in Big Bear, down in California, in the mountains. For those of you that don't know, and yeah, I was just driving. I was driving from where we had dinner at my daughter's boyfriend's mom's house, which is at one end of like the Big Bear Valley or whatever we want to call it up there. She's on the like almost far eastern end. And then I went over afterwards, went to my daughter's house to stay the night, and she's way over in Lake Arrowhead, which is way on the western end of the mountain there. It's like it's over an hour. I think it was well over an hour drive. And we had separate cars, so my daughter went ahead, and I was just by myself. And I saw, because the road actually to go to my daughter's, it just goes straight, like, and then but the village, the Big Bear Lake Village, it's sort of a little side thing. And I saw that. I looked over, and I know the village. I used to live up there, when I was 8 years old. And I've been to Big Bear many times, but so yeah, I'm familiar with the village. But I saw it all lit up and it looked all pretty, So I was like, I gotta shoot a little video of it. So I just took a quick left. I had my little tripod, put the camera on there real quick, and just held it up and just drove down the street. And yeah, it was just kind of pretty, it's all lit up. And so that's what Big Dog was talking about. And I did two videos. I just did another one this morning. It's the same exact video, but I put a little music over to it. Or under it, however you say, because I thought, well, this probably should have music, and so I just downloaded if you ever go on, was it iMovie or whatever the thing that comes with that's what I use is to edit videos, and it's just whatever their music is. Hopefully, sometimes I use their music, and I thought all that music was like copyright free. But every now and then I use music from that app, that iMovie app, and then I'll get a copyright claim. I'm like, what? I thought this was like okay to use. So we'll see. But anyhow, so I did two videos. Same video, one without music, one with music. Maybe you can check it out and check them both out and let me know what you think. What do you like better? Do you like the one with music or without music? If you are so inclined to check out my other videos and stuff, and I just posted those today, the video, the one without sound, I think I posted that yesterday, and the one with music, I did it this morning. Hey, William's here. Hello, William. Good to see you. Ichabod here says that Trucker John, your mic is only connected to the right, not the left. I know I've had people say that before, and there's really nothing I can do about it. This is just a little cheap, basically like a lavalier mic, and it doesn't. I don't believe I have any control of how it goes out. You know what I mean? So I'm sorry about that, but I think that's the way it goes. Some people say they don't have a problem with it. So, but yeah, this is just we're doing a budget show, really super low budget show here. But yeah, I don't have any control over that. So sorry about that. Christian Weibel, I just got done watching Hal's live stream. He won't be back until Monday. Right. You're right. He does his shows basically Monday. Well, I don't need to do the schedule, but he's usually Monday through Friday. He's got various days, and he does a Saturday. So he takes Sunday off, basically. Let's see. MJ Daniels here. Hey, MJ, good to see us. Has been watching your winter storm on YouTube. I like the snow, but or the winter storm. I like the snow, but not that much, or not too much. Susie Jones says, Trucker John, your mic is not loud enough. Oh, is it? It's not loud enough? Well, I'll try to get my mouth closer to it. Again, I can't control the volume. This has no volume control. I don't have a soundboard or anything like that. So the only thing I can suggest, I'm pretty close to the mic. If I get really close, it gets to be what's known as a hot, not really a hot mic, but I don't know. It just would be too loud. So you might have to turn your volume up a little bit, maybe. TSN Broadway says, thanks for driving safe, TJ. I was driving pretty safe. I try. Ichabod here says, Susie, his mic is not connected to the left, only one speaker here, and it's at TJ's end. Like I say, there's no way for me to control it. This is just basically a Bluetooth. It hooks up through my Bluetooth on my phone, and I can't control if it's going out, how many channels it goes on, left or right or whatever. So hopefully, like I said, I guess we're not doing anything in stereo, at least through this mic. Christina Weibel, proud to be a sparkle. You're a sparkle in the horizon. Pat Ludwig is here. Hey, Pat, good to see Pat Ludwig. Music is here. 36 thumbs on my end. All right. Yeah, see, mine still says 19. I think the amount of people updates because it says 50. But for the thumbs up, it's stuck at 19. So hopefully you guys are hitting that thumbs up. Nikki Oliver's here, watching from Missouri. Good old Missouri. Thanks, Nikki, for being here, by the way. Fancy, hey, Fancy's in the house. Fancy's here. Good to see Fancy. As always, let's see who else we got. As I scroll on down here, we got Nikki Oliver says, I think Orange is a psychopath. I believe that if we're talking about Donald Trump, I believe he is a sociopath. But what do I know? What do I know? Christina Weiler says that Rump is just trying to distract us so we give up the fight. And distract us so we don't see what he's really doing. You know, the old sleight of hand type of thing. Look at this over here while I take a bunch of stuff over here. Basically what he's trying to do. Studio 44 says off-road adventures trucking. Okay. Music says when Phil said that I really hoped he would come back. Yeah, but he says he's going to stay. I was thinking the same thing. Like, what? When are you leaving? You know, but he's determined to stay there through the duration. Grandma M's here. Hey, Grandma, good to see you. Says you could hear the fear. It was very tense. I hope he's going to be okay. Yeah, I do too. You know, we've been watching Phil now for what, almost 3 years probably. a couple, at least two, 2.5 years. Ever since the war started, a couple years at least. So we've all been, watching him, and we feel like he's part of the family, the Sparkler family, and we don't want anything bad to happen to him. Kimchi says, "Hi, beautiful motor trucklers. Hi, Trucker John, gorgeous Jolie, and beautiful Mistress Aaron." Well, hi, right back at you, Kimchi. Kimchi's in the driver's lounge. Good to see you. Ichabod, dear, Biden can always slip Ukraine a nuke. And then, boy, just think everyone would be saying, you're going to start World War III. But maybe it's like, maybe we owe them some nukes, right? Because we took, we had that agreement where we said, hey, if you get rid of all your nukes, then we will protect you. That was the deal. And Ukraine said, okay, I trust America. America, they wouldn't fuck us over, right? Well, guess what? America's fucking you over because stupid people voted for this stupid man named Donald Trump. So maybe Biden should, under the premise, I guess, would that be the right term, of, hey, man, we didn't live up to our obligation. We said we would protect him, and it looks like we're not going to be able to do that once I am out of office on January 20th. So as a precaution, I'm going to give them their arsenal back. Don't just give them one nuke. Give them as many as they had before they gave them up. That's what I would do. And I would say, take that, Putin. Here, choke on this, Putin. Jolie says, I have Trucker John and the chat on the TV at my parents'. Will everyone please say hello to Patty, my mom? Hi, Patty. Yay. Jolie's mom. Hope everything's going okay with you. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving. And have a great day, Patty, from Trucker John. Glad to see Patty's in there watching, or maybe listening, I guess. Hopefully. Let's see. So Deborah Murphy's here. Good to see Deborah. And Ichabod Deer says Trump appoints Jared Kushner, dad, as AMB to France, a criminal felon who tried to set up his own brother and went to jail for it. Yeah, they're a party of it's an administration full of criminals and sexual assaulters and all that. They're just no good. Nikki Oliver says, I hope Jack Smith releases the report. So do I. You got to release it, Jack. At least do something, Jack. Could you at least do us this one thing? You're not going to prosecute him, but at least release your fucking report. Ichabod here says, Biden, Garland failing all of us. Why both took the oath to protect us from threats, foreign domestic. They are failing us. I don't know. I don't know. I've heard. I don't know. Biden. I think Biden has done everything he can. Garland. I've been very critical of Garland lately. But then you hear people defend him and say, blah blah blah. So I don't know. I probably tend more on Ichabod's side on this, especially for Garland. Very disappointed in him, and he's just lacks any aggressiveness. Polar Vortex, the Ukrainian church. Polar Vortex, for those of you, if you're not seeing them in the chat or whatever, that's a chatter. Polar Vortex. By the way, thanks for being here. Says that the Ukrainian church just down the block has been fundraising since the war started. Well, that's nice and that's great, and every little bit helps. But they need the full on backing and financial support of the United States government if they're going to win this thing. And if we can't, then they need the, because there's, I don't know if Europe has enough to do that, but I mean I think European nations and some of those other surrounding countries, they're going to have to step up too. But I don't know if it'll be enough. But without backing of the U.S., we'll see. We shall see. As Old as In says, voting for Trump isn't just a young and stupid thing. There's something seriously wrong with them. Yeah, I know, but in relation to that that video clip, he was talking about. Yeah, the mom said they're young, but yeah, you're right. It's. I mean, I had I say old lady. She was probably my age when I went to the Trump rally here in Vegas. One of them, the one that was at Sunset Park a few months ago, and she was totally in my face yelling. She's a total maggot, and she was not young. So yeah, stupidity comes in all ages. Like I said, I still do stupid shit, but at least I don't vote for. I can at least say that I never voted for Trump or any Republican for that matter. I've never voted for a Republican. Polar Vortex says there's an area in SK. I don't know what SK is called. The behind the pierogi curtain, every restaurant has to have pierogies and cabbage rolls. Is SK Saskatchewan? Is that did we have that conversation before? I don't know. I don't know. Nikki Oliver says Trump has no empathy, and I think that means he's a sociopath. Like I said, you can't change that. I said I think he's a sociopath. Let's see. I'm going to skip down pretty far back in the chat here. Susie Jones says mono, not stereo. At least it's sound and we can hear you. That's the main thing. Maybe someday I'll be able to broadcast in stereo, but yeah, right now we're mono. But some people said it wasn't loud enough. You might just have to turn your volume up a little bit. Nikki Oliver says I can hear you. Polar Vortex, I noticed there was no snow on your trip. Well, I was commenting on that actually when I got up there, and I already knew the forecast, and I have a Big Bear live cam, and I'm watching right now. I watch it all the time, so I knew that there was no snow up there, but still it was odd because, like I said, when I've lived there, and I've lived down the hill from there my first almost 30 years of my life, so I'm very familiar with the area. And it did just seem a little warmer than usual. I don't know what the averages are. I didn't really check up the averages. And it did seem to me that there's usually more snow on the ground. There are some years when the whole place will be covered in snow. And usually there's at least some good patches of snow. And like, there was nothing. There was absolutely nothing. And the only snow you did see was on some of the ski slopes, which was primarily, I'm sure, man-made snow. They did have a little light snowfall, I guess, a few days before Thanksgiving. It wasn't very much, but that was all gone by the time I got up there. But yeah, so I do think it's a bit unusual. And we are definitely in a global warming is setting in, and the climates have changed. And our winters are much more milder, I think, all over the country. Nikki Oliver says, I'm a sparkle too. West Webb says, laughing out loud, Polar Vortex. Some of us are picky. I don't mind being a sparky or a sparksist. I don't want to be called a sparkler. Yeah, Wes, you are too picky. You're very picky. Server Norm says, what? No stereo? I'm out of here. The likes are at 51. Thank you. See, mine still says 19. 69 watching. Apparently 51 likes. So we got some stragglers. Make sure you hit that like button for me. Get us out there in the algorithm. Deborah Murphy says, Phil has said he would stay for the long haul, good or bad, from the start. Yeah, that's true. I guess he has been saying that, but for him to actually say, like, I could die. I remember him saying he's going to be here for the duration, but the tone in his voice, it was different than before. And he's like, I could die. And it was very kind of, kind of eye opening, or, you can see that how his tone and everything has changed, because the shit is getting more and more real. And not that it hasn't been real. Lots of people have died in this. Lots of Ukrainian citizens and soldiers have died during this stupid war. So I'm not saying that, but I mean, it's now it's like shit's getting really, really, bleak. Things are getting a little bleak as we get closer and closer to January 20th and Trump taking over. And that's got to be, it's bad enough for us here. At least I think we have some hope here in America that we can, whatever Democrats we have in office, whatever laws we have, whatever's left of our Constitution, we have things in place. We're still hopeful. At least I'm still hopeful that we can win in 2026 in the congressional elections. I'm not going to call them midterms. I'm going to call them congressional elections, because people seem to think midterms, they take it lightly and they don't show up. These are congressional elections in 2026. Let's start saying that. And so there's still some hope here. But in Ukraine, the hope has got to be dwindling and dwindling. And so as each day we get closer to January 20th, so yeah, it's got to be really, really frightening to be over there now. More so than ever, even though, like I said, it's been bad the whole time. But as far as, people have been dying. Arizona Sunflowers is here. It says, hello, no nukes. Oh, yeah, we were talking earlier about Ichabod Deer was saying Biden should slip Ukraine a nuke. Yeah, I know. I mean, I don't know, though. I mean, if Putin's going to have them, and they do have them, and they're going to threaten to use them, then why shouldn't Ukraine be able to retaliate or even act preemptively? I know, man. I know that's the kind of shit that could set off World War III. But blame Putin. Hey, Robert Perez is here. Top of the morning. Robert says, top of the morning, driver, and hello to all Democratic voters. Hello back at you, Robert. Always good to see you in the chat. Hope everything's going well for you down San Diego way. Let's see. Going down the chat here. Susie Jones says, any Democratic word is a target for rump. Susie just refusing to put that T. No T. No T for you, Donald. Hey, look at there. Asburn Knudsen donated 20 kronars. Thank you so much, Asburn. I do appreciate you so much. Thanks for helping the show, supporting the show. Maybe someday we'll be able to broadcast in stereo. You never know. Robert Perez says, Trucker John, I got to say you look bright-eyed and fresh as a 20-year-old now. Really? You're funny. You're funny. Susie Jones says, unfortunately, it's up to Barrett Garland whether or not that report is released. What if someone leaked it? Huh? I don't care how it gets out, as long as it gets out. Kimchi says, I watched the FAFO videos of maggots getting their due. And I really do hope the maggots get it the worst, but we're all gonna get it. But Nikki Oliver and then Merrick Garland has to approve the report. Like I say, I don't care how it gets out as long as it gets out. Big Dog, Trick John got a haircut. Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, I did that on Wednesday, and they cut off like this much hair on the back. I mean, it was, you could have made a whole new, you could have dyed it and made a whole new like Donald Trump wig out of it or something. Jolie says, "Yay! Thanks everyone." Mom says, "Hi." She loved it. You guys are the best. Oh, glad she liked that. Christina Weibel says, "It's up to Merrick Garland to reach Jack Smith's report. I know this through the Legal AF channel with Michael Pop." I'm not doubting you, Christine, and I guess Susie. I'm not doubting you that that's the like the legal channel that it has to go through. But what I'm saying is, I don't care how it gets out, legally or illegally. Okay, there's sometimes when you have to do things illegal. It's called what do you call it? You know what it's called. Music says, "I had the pleasure of explaining to my friend that oil checking is in wrestling today. They didn't believe me." Oh, that sounds gross. Wes Webb says, we only had 4 of us for Thanksgiving dinner. No topic was prohibited, but we didn't talk a lot of politics. I gotta say, we didn't talk politics, and no one said, "Hey, no politics," but we just didn't. It didn't come up. Nothing really came up. It got maybe a little close a couple times, but we steered away from it, and we just had fun, just getting to know each other, and you know, talking, eating some great food. We played some games afterwards, so yeah, it was a great time. Had a great Thanksgiving. Is this another $50 50 kronar from Asbjørn Knudsen? Thank you so much. Says Asbjørn says, "Biden did not fail. You, the American people, failed the world by yourself. Stop blaming Biden. Best wishes from Norway." Yeah, I mean, but Joe Biden had, like I said, the greatest presidency within my lifetime, and I was born in 1960. I put Biden above Kennedy, above Johnson, above Clinton, above Obama. And if he could have continued on with a second term, man, just think. I mean, they only created 16 million jobs under his first, and that was just 3.5 years, whatever. That's all he did. Kept us, our economy, had one of the quickest turnarounds in U.S. history of turning around from a really tanked out economy coming out of Trump the first time. Yeah, we can go on and on and on. Infrastructure, Chips and Science Act, improving our, broadband, all that stuff. Great stuff. Yeah, and you're right. The American people let down not only fellow Americans but the entire world. You're absolutely right. If you're going to be a world power, that's the responsibility that comes with it. Big Dog NC says Arizona's surrounded by MAGA. Arizona surrounded by MAGA. Kept my mouth shut so as not to start an argument. Mostly kept quiet for the kids. Ichabod Deer says Biden is no FDR or Lincoln protecting us from domestic threats. He is failing us. Sorry, just the truth. Okay, Ichabod. Then you need to explain what you think Biden should be doing besides slipping Ukraine a nuke, which I don't even think he could do. Enlighten us on realistically what Joe Biden can do that he's not doing. It's one thing to sit there and gripe and complain. It's another thing to actually have some solutions. I'd love to hear your solutions, realistic solutions, not just, "Hey, I'm going to slip Ukraine and buy a nuke here." And I did scroll down in the chat because I'm probably 30 minutes behind. So if you did, you might have responded, and I won't see it, but we'll see. But you could repost it if you have to. Your solutions, realistic, legal, or maybe if they're even slightly illegal, but as long as it's a realistic, real thing, I want to hear it. Arizona Sunflowers, you're correct. Americans failed Kamala Harris, and failed us, our lives are basically screwed for the next 4 years. And we see the margin of victory in the popular vote keeps shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. It's almost like virtually a tie. As far as who votes. And then it comes down to, I always wonder what happened to all the voters that extra cushion that Biden got. Where did they go? And then you hear stories about bomb threats coming from Russia to a lot of Democratic areas that closed down voting precincts. You hear about the purging, the purging of the people from the voting rolls. You hear about hacks, hacking the voting machines, I guess. You hear about these things, but what is actually being done to investigate it? What's actually being done to get us some proof and some evidence of this? And even if we do get proof and evidence, it's not going to do any good. Donald Trump is still going to be sworn in on January 20th. But if there was something that we need to know, and we need to get facts, not just, for me, all I have is a feeling, or all I have is some, you hear stories, and so, yeah, I'm like, it doesn't sound right. This, and just the fact that, when you saw the two campaigns and how different they were, and how one was really good and one was really bad, and the really bad one is the one that ended up winning. I mean, none of it adds up to me. It all does smell fishy. But I don't have any real facts or evidence to back anything up, this is where I guess I'm kind of handing things over to the smarter people that actually can, actually have power to do something. Let's see. Wes Webb says, laughing out loud, I am unhappy with the Dems in general, but Uncle Joe allowed himself to be Aunt Nancy's tool, so he is partly to blame. I don't think he allowed himself to be Nancy's tool. I don't know what where you're getting at. I think that he saw the writing on the wall once the big time donors stopped donating, and he I think he felt like, well, I they painted me into a corner here, or whatever, And Nikki Oliver, who's your favorite historian, John? I don't have a favorite historian. That one dude on the History Channel with the beard looks like Brigham Young. Let's put that guy in there. Floyd Price is here. Hey, Floyd says 52 is my like, and I'm a sparkler. There you go, Floyd. Thank you so much for liking, and sparklers are welcome. And sometimes the folks here go by, they like to be called trucklers because it's like trucker and sparkler combined. But thanks for that like. I do appreciate you. Thanks for being here, Floyd. Ichabod Deer says, Asbjørn Knudsen, Bernie bashed the Dems, Biden, etc. right after the election, and I didn't agree with what he said at all, but I voted for him. You voted for Bernie in this election, or you voted for Bernie in 2016, or Or are you talking about you voted for him for Congress? I don't know. I'm confused. Wes Webb says, laughing out, no topic should be off base. Roxanne Arfield. Arizona Sunflower says, I don't even think I'll live another 4 years, so maybe I won't know what Trump does. I just feel totally sad and let down. Well, Arizona Sunflowers, you hang in there, okay? Let's have some optimism. Let's have some hope that, this was not a mandate by any stretch of the imagination. Now, I think the margin of victory, if you want to call that, between, Trump and Kamala Harris, it's like 1.2% or something. It's barely over a percentage point. So this was not a mandate. And I believe we're going to have some good Democrats in Congress. They're going to do everything they can to hold down the fort. It's going to be rough, but you just got to put your head down and go about your day, and just worry about the things that you can do, and not worry so much about don't carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. This is when you got to kind of bring it in and go, okay, I'm responsible for this house. I'm responsible for this job. I'm responsible to get food on the table. Whatever, whatever it is, and just hunker down and just do your thing and not carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. You know. And we'll get through this, and we'll get through it together. That's why we have House Sparks, and we have other shows. That I think the chat rooms are more important than the show. At least on this show, I think that's true. Where we can commiserate, and we can kind of bond together and give each other hope to carry on. Whoops. Hope that didn't sound too loud. Anyhow, so yeah, hang in there, Arizona. We're going to get through this. Alvin Stubbs here. Hey, Alvin, good to see you. Alvin says, hello, everybody. Snowing in southern Illinois today. Well, there you go. There's some snow. As I scroll down the chat here, Lauren Teed says, I'm no T person too. It's chump or cheetah. Oh, the T, yeah. I got you for rump. It's chump or cheetolini. Yeah, there you go. Kimchi says, we had 20 minutes of snow last week. My goodness, how did you survive that? Alvin Stube says, covered ground so far, Kimchi. Deborah Murphy says, Ichabod dear, why were you mad? Biden was angry that people did not vote. President Biden did what they wanted and backed out of running. And again, like I say over and over again, hindsight's 2020. Yeah, I wish for sure I wish Joe would have stayed in. But at the time, all the big donors were pulling out. And Nancy Pelosi and even Adam Schiff, they were all, maybe not directly, but in so many words, were saying it doesn't look good and he should probably think about, maybe stepping down, all that kind of stuff. And, so they really did a number on him. But then when he made this, he stepped down and he said Kamala Harris is going to be the one. Man, people stepped up. All the small donors, at least, and all the American people. I was one of them. I was a small donor. I within 2 hours of Biden stepping down, I went right to Kamala Harris' campaign and donated some money. And I wasn't the only one, because within a couple of days, I think they raised a couple $100 million or something. So people were trying. I think that was the way most people were saying. Okay, look, we're not going to give up this fight. We're not going to just hand over this presidency to Trump. We're in it to win it, and we're going to support Kamala Harris with everything we got. And we did. Monetarily, they raised over $1.5 billion, right, in 3 months. Unheard of. But it's not just about raising money, apparently. When you have mainstream media that sane washes Trump, and you have right-wing media that holds Trump to a completely different standard, and Democrats to a completely different standard, whereas Trump can get away with anything and everything. He can simulate giving whatever you call it, to a microphone and that kind of shit, and he can say all kinds of awful racist things. But God forbid if Kamala Harris just maybe had a funny laugh one day or something. They put that on a loop. So there was obstacles, and it was and the fact that she only really had 3 months of campaign. I'm still convinced if she had even just 4 or 5 months, or just some little extra time, that might have been the difference, since this was so close. She's only losing in the popular vote by barely over 1%. Maybe if she'd had another 6 weeks or 8 weeks to campaign, that might have been enough to make the difference. But we can speculate all day long. And we can blame. And we can revisit and revise history all we want. But hindsight's 2020. And all we can do about looking back is try to learn from those mistakes so we don't repeat them again in the future. Susan Jones, leaky buckets for Jack Smith. Absolutely. Let's see. I see Dana Darden's here. Dana Darden says, "Howdy from Virginia, y'all. Trying to find something other than my kids and grandkids to be thankful for. Glad to see you normal peeps today." Well, thank you, Dana, for being here, hanging out with us as we recover from our Thanksgiving get-togethers and we get ready for Christmas and the New Year, and then we get ready for maybe I'll drop the T too. We'll get ready for Drumpf. Arizona Sunflower says, actually, hey, about you voted for Bernie. You said you could have voted for Kamala. Nikki Oliver just blocked a hater. Deborah Murphy says, Susie Jones, no, not just that Dems pushed him back out and blacks and Mexicans voted for Trump. Well, not all of them did, but you got I guess those percentages in those groups rose, and it's that old FAFO thing now, like that clip I played. It's about the FAFO thing. They fucked around, and now they're going to find out. Michael Reich says, Credit Card Joe, they all have their warts. Joe couldn't relate to a much more media-savvy youth, the best of that era. Well, he got a lot of that vote in 2020. He got a lot of the youth vote in 2020. So, you know. Susie Jones, I was hoping that it would energize those people that remember the Kennedy era. Left Wing Gorillas here. Left Wing Gorilla says Biden got fucked by Manchin. Yeah, Manchin was a real dick. I don't like Manchin. But now he is out because I guess he had to retire. I don't. Well, there was no term limits, but I guess he retired or whatever. And now they got a Republican there. So would you rather have a Joe Manchin, who probably still voted for Democratic, along Democratic lines, probably an overwhelming majority of the time, I bet, if we looked at his numbers. Or would you rather have a Republican who's probably never going to vote for anything Democrats do? I mean, that's how I look at things. Let's see. Deborah Marie says, Michelle, really, you voted for Trump? Then if Biden had not backed down and let Kamala run. Let's see. I didn't see is it Michelle? I didn't see that. I didn't see that post, I guess. Yeah, I don't know where it is. So, because I kind of scroll up on here because, like I said, I can't read all of them, and I do like to get a little more current. I don't like being a half hour behind, in the chat. So I'm not going to read all of it. If I skip over something you posted and it's really something you really want me to see, I guess you could repost it, although I don't want you to spam the chat either. You know what I mean? With just doing the same chat over and over and over again. But if there's something you put in there like 15 minutes ago and I skipped over it and it's something you think is really, really, really super important that you want to get some point you want, then I guess you could try to do it again. Ichabod Deer says, in the 2024 election, I voted for Kamala and Bernie. I live in Vermont, and Bernie is my senator. Right. That's what I alluded to. You still haven't given, or at least unless I skipped over it, I haven't seen your realistic solutions to what Biden should be doing or should have done. Hey, Osborne, I'm just not getting to this next super chat by Asburn, another 50 kronar. Thank you so much, Asburn. Says purging the voter rolls and gerrymandering is the only game Republicans use. No Skylink or machine involved. Old school vote suppression. I don't know. Gerrymandering is only that affects the House races. That affects the House of Representative races. It doesn't affect the Senate. It doesn't affect the president. So that could affect the House for sure. I don't know about Skylink, but there is. I don't know. I've seen what I think is pretty credible videos about being able to hack machines and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I have that's. But the main thing is, I think you're all right about suppression. But I think voter purging. I do think those bomb threats may have had a big deal. I don't know. Was that enough, or is it just voter apathy? Because like I say, it was a smaller turnout than what I expected. Hey, James Jaramillo's here. Good to see James. James says the only facts you need are from Trump's past. Everything is rigged against him when he loses. Come on, man. Yeah, and when he wins, then it's not rigged. Right. Kimchi says Goodwin Kearns is my favorite historian but for the next 4 years, it is fascism expert Ruth Bengiat. I didn't know people had favorite historians. Westweb says I did phone banks, even knocked on doors for Paul Simon, but none for the other guy. He would have made an excellent president. You didn't knock on doors for Garfunkel. What about J.A. Dickey is here. Hey, J.A., good to see you. Thanks for being in the chat. J.A. Dickey says that in 2020, the idiot expected bigger crowds in D.C. This time around, Steve Bannon got his sorry ass slapped in jail. Then Elon stepped in and bought the election behind the scenes. He pumped in a lot of money through super PACs, that's for sure. And I think that's a problem. Michael Reich says, Ichabod Dear, fuck state rights. I couldn't be more emphatic. And I have skipped down a lot. So if I skipped just your thing, I'm sorry. But I like I said, I scroll down because, I just can't read them all. Asmer Newton says, Arizona Sunflowers, I wish I was, but I'm struggling just like the rest of you. But instead of gambling, I have a super chat edition when drinking, cheaper than going to the bar. West Webb says, I sent Uncle Joe a pretty big check after he reassured us that he was staying in the race. You mean like when he first announced that he was going to run for re-election? Oh, yeah, because then he did say, like, yeah, right before, that's right, right before he did drop out, probably like a week before, I think he was saying he was staying in it. But then it was just, like I said, more and more people were dropping out, more of his big donors, and more people were coming out saying that he should step down, and his popularity was dropping. It was just bad. It was bad. You think, he was really left with no choice, but I mean, maybe he could have soldiered on and worked through it, but I guess we'll never know, and it's all speculation at this point. Capable Glober says, I still say Joe Scarborough kept Biden in to 2024. I don't get that one. J.A. Dickey says his high tariffs are going to take the economy when he starts to fire people who can't be legally fired. We end up with a third Senate impeachment trial. The House is split 270-215 after January 3rd. I was wondering that myself, if he was going to get impeached for a third time. That did cross my mind. I scrolled down. I'm scrolling down here. J.A. Dickey says there are votes still being counted in California. This election is as tight as 1960 or 68. There is actually no lands. No, exactly. I've said that earlier in today's show. There's no mandate, none whatsoever. It's almost like a virtual tie. That's how close it is. I mean, it's like 1.5% separating the two. Arizona Sunflowers, me too. I was small donor like you, trucker. I donated all I could and then some. It's just so disappointing. It is very disappointing. It's sad. I'm right there with you. I've gone through all the stages of grief. Sad, depression, anger, and now and sometimes those things pop back up again. But I'm just trying to remain hopeful and trying to stay in this fight and just trying to keep everyone focused, I think, on 2026 and focused on between now and 2026 doing what like Texas Paul. I watched his short this morning, and I've been kind of saying this too. But he specifically used the term document, and we need to be documenting all these things that are going to be happening under the Trump administration. All these bad things when prices start going up, and anything we see that we can that's directly attributed to Trump, we need to take a picture of it, take a video of it, document it, post it. We can't because they're going to try to blame it on Biden. I mean, we could be 3 years into the Trump administration here in this coming up, and they'll still be blaming Biden for shit. And whatever good comes, that is because of the Inflation Reduction Act or the Chips and Science Act or anything that Biden has done, and those if they're able to continue building infrastructure out, expanding broadband, bringing more jobs through chip factories, all that kind of stuff, then of course they're going to be, all these Republicans are going to be at the the shovel ceremonies, the ribbon cutting ceremonies, acting like they all supported it, and you probably look them up, and more than likely they voted against it or were against it. So we need to keep calling them out, calling the Republicans out for being the liars and the charlatans. There we go. And I'm going to promise to learn how to have a vocabulary. But we got to keep exposing them for all their lies all along the way. And don't let them take credit for things that Biden did, and don't let them blame Biden for things that he isn't responsible for. That will be our job for these next few years. Kimchi says, capable, so you think a rebuke influenced Biden from the TV. You were thinking of gullible dump or Trump, whatever. Ichabod Deer says, did Trump call him Zuckerbucks? I don't know. Susie Jones says, that was disgusting. He looked like he had some experience doing it. See, I'm mid-thread now. Now I'm mid-thread, so I don't know exactly what you guys are talking about. Wes Webb says, if they didn't see the need to vote, that sort of defines the situation. Michael Reich says, sure, jack up the prices of Canadian oil 25%. Not even Trump is that stupid, I hope. Oh. Don't ever underestimate the level of Trump's stupidity. Nikki Oliver, blacks voted for Kamala. Arizona Sunflower says, actually, Ichabod Deer explained he voted for Bernie for senator, not for POTUS. Right. I saw that. I scrolled down, so if I skip something over, don't take it personally. It's just, I'm trying to get a little bit more into the current posts here. Nikki Oliver, Trumpy did not win a mandate. That's right. Absolutely. Ichabod Deer says Americans pay the lowest price for gas pump in the world. Ichabod Deer, we prefer shitty health care and cheap gas in the USA. Yeah, I guess so. Wes Webb says exactly, Michael Reich, controlling the price of oil is a valuable power. That's what OPEC does. Ichabod Deer, and really bad public education too. They don't care about it. I mean, I care about it. Most of us care about it. But these maggots, they don't give a shit about any of that. I mean, they want to blame the education system for the little shits they're turning out. They don't want to take the responsibility of being horrible parents, so they just blame it on the Department of Education. Floyd Price says 6th grade education over 50% of the country. Christina Weibel, President Biden gave Ukraine back their nukes. He did? I didn't hear about that. I mean, unless you're talking about, because I know they said that they could shoot into Russia a certain amount of miles, and it was going to take out some of the Russia's ammo, like ammo supply yards or whatever. But I don't remember them giving them like their nuclear capability back. I don't know. I'd like to hear more about that. Diane Russell says, howdy y'all, it's me, Diane, the elder with the 2 kittens. Hello, Diane, good to see you. Thanks for specifying. You know, the Diane with the 2 kittens. Thanks for being here, by the way. Good to see you. Always good to see Diana in the chat. Susie Jones says, Camelot, this is what, hashtag Camelot, this is what I was hoping would energize people and drop RFK Jr. out of the race. To tell the truth, I really didn't think Trump had a chance. I didn't think he had a chance. This really did blindside me. This Trump winning blindsided me. If I'm going to be completely honest and truthful, I did not think he had a chance, because Kamala Harris, to me, from what I saw, again, in hindsight, we can see the mistakes. She should have done a little more here, a little more there, done this. But in real time, it looked like a really great campaign, and she was doing fantastically. But if you saw anything that Trump was doing, it was pathetic. Trump was pathetic. That's why was one of the reasons why I think it doesn't add up. That's why it seems so fishy to me. Donald Trump's campaign was a shit show, a total fucking shit show. And Kamala Harris' campaign was lively and electric and exciting and happy and joyful. And people were glad to come out and glad to go in and show their support for Kamala Harris. You go to a Trump rally and the places were half empty, and people were leaving early because they were bored with his fucking bullshit. And he was up there rambling like some fucking demented old fool. The 2 campaigns could not have been more distant or more the opposite of each other. So I really, just ignoring whatever polls, just going on just on that, I didn't think Trump had a chance. I did not think he had. And I think a lot of people were like me. I think a lot of people, even people from other countries that were watching, probably felt the same way. So this is a failure. And it's shocking to see such a disconnect with the voters, that they would vote for a man that obviously is not anywhere near qualified to be president of the United States. But so many of them, you hear them, they say that they think he's a great businessman, and we need a businessman. They think he's a great leader or something. It's just weird how someone could have such a different opinion than I have. Like, usually, I don't know, think of a celebrity or someone or even a political figure. I can kind of see why people might like Reagan or something. And I never liked Reagan. I thought he was always a clown and was always, just your typical, but he was more your typical Republican, saying a lot of shit just because as always, the goal is to lower taxes on the rich and strip away regulations. That's always been their goal, no matter what. But I don't know. I guess you could find where people would like Reagan, like he was this cowboy. He had this image, this kind of John Wayne image. I don't know what. I don't know. I guess, but I'm just trying to think. Like for Trump, what do people see in Trump? And I don't get it. I still don't get it to this day. Is that another 20 kroner from Asbjørn Knudsen? Thank you so much again, Asbjørn, for the support of the show. And Asbjørn says, ask Hal about the hacking. It's not a thing. Has Hal mentioned it? Has he talked a bunch about that? I don't think he has really. But we probably should ask him. As old as in says the bomb threats were enough because they targeted blue areas in swing states. Yeah, they did. Was it like 20 different ones or something, or maybe more? And weren't they all? They found out they were all coming from Russia. How much of a big fucking red flag is needed? It's like, come on, people. I mean, it couldn't be any more obvious. I don't know. J. Dickie Hal is often very correct. There could have been a clever hack. Michael Reich says, Ichabod Deer, what does it take to make an EV or any other car for that matter? The planet is not a slick commercial. It's the only place we got. Yeah. I'm mid-thread, so I don't know exactly what you guys were talking about. But I know there's lots of things that come out from the right wing, lots of people who don't believe in climate change, or they certainly don't believe it's man-made. They believe we should keep just spewing out fossil fuels and greenhouse gases to our heart's content, and whatever happens, it's not because of us. It's because that's just the way the world is doing. That's just the way the world is going, And so when you talk about, I think we need to get off of fossil fuels, and EVs is a good step. Maybe that's the first step. At least all of our passenger vehicles. Let's get rid of those tailpipe emissions. That would be a big, huge chunk of it. We could get rid of pretty much off the bat. Not in 10 or 20 or 50 years from now, but pretty much within the next couple of years, we could replace all of our passenger vehicles with EVs, and we would have no tailpipe emissions. That would reduce greenhouse emissions by 40-something%, 45%. The studies I've seen. So that alone should be worth the effort. That alone should be good enough reason for us to do that. But people on the right will say to make an EV, it's just as dirty, and by dirty they mean, as far as environmentally, as a gas-powered car. And I have read reports and seen studies over and over again that refute that. When you break down all of the breakdown of it, it still comes out to EVs having a much smaller fossil footprint, or whatever, or impact, environmentally, in a bad way. So, and like I said on my last show, I think a lot of times people, I'm not saying anybody here in the chat, but a lot of people, who are detractors, the right wingers who are detractors of going green and renewable, and EVs in particular, they are citing really outdated information. It's been a talking point. These are right-wing talking points that they keep bringing up, but they're 20 years old. They're based on data that's 2 decades old. They're not updating. They're not updating with the times, because maybe 2 decades ago some of that stuff was true about inefficiency or whatever. But strides have been made to make things more efficient and more cleaner. So if you're going to have that argument, I would appreciate whoever it is. I'm not saying anyone in the chat. I'm speaking in general terms. Anyone who's going to bring up those detractions and arguments as right-wing arguments and talking points, I would really super appreciate it if you would get current within at least the last couple of years, because sometimes it takes a couple of years for studies to come out or whatever. So if you could at least update your data sources and whatever reports you're reading, and it's not just some bullet list from some right winger. But hopefully, I would just ask that you try to get the most current data that's available instead of regurgitating stuff from 20 years ago, because that's what a lot of these right wingers do. They just regurgitate these arguments from 20 years ago, and they don't hold up. They don't hold up anymore. Big Dog says 3:21 Eastern Time. Nick Rich is not here, so I'll post it. Thank you, Big Dog. Yeah, where is Nick Rich, by the way? Yeah, so 3:21, and it's actually 12:38. So I'm about 17 minutes behind, I guess. That's not too bad. That's not too bad. But I'm going to scroll on up here. I do see, look at here, another 50 kronars from Asborn Knudsen. Super chat. Elon is not using machines to hack. Not Hugo Chavez ghost, but he did use X Twitter to win Trump the election. Move to Blue Sky and don't buy Tesla. I am on Blue Sky. I deactivated my X account 6 months ago. And I'm on Blue Sky. So if you guys want to look at, I'm on it's Trucker John 3. I think if you go to like @TruckerJohn3.bluesky.com or whatever, and you guys can follow me over there. Would love to see you guys over there on the good old Blue Sky. All right, I just when I go like this with my hand, that means I scrolled up. So if I skipped you something, don't take it personally. Michael Reich, now I'm mid-thread here. I'm probably mid-thread of a conversation. So Michael Reich says that Kimchi, you're squawking at a 65-year-old Army combat vet. Don't assume that you have the same base of knowledge that I have. Yeah, Kimchi, don't assume, because you know what happens when you assume. Andrew Sunflowers, I just changed your name to Andrew Sunflowers. No, Arizona Sunflowers says, well, if it wasn't really up to him, at the point they forced him to quit, he was very upset, and it seems like Mrs. Biden was even more upset. She wouldn't even come out anymore, and I don't blame her. Well, it proved to be a fatal mistake, because a lot of people, Hal Sparks included, and I think I tend to agree that if Joe had just stayed in, that he would have won. But we'll never know. We will never know. I mean, I guess we could try to get some polling on it. Like if you could find really good, accurate polling to say, would you have voted? But then, people might lie, or they maybe, I don't know. So, I guess that's always the risk of polling. But I don't know, guys. We can't. I guess we can't just keep kind of beating ourselves up by always saying, woulda, coulda, shoulda. We can't. We got to stop the woulda, coulda, shoulda thing, and we got to move on. We really do. Kimchi says, Biden made me lose my reading glasses. He put them on my head. Yeah, blame Biden for everything. West Webb says, I think it makes him feel better, as old as in. Mid-thread. I'm mid-thread. Diane Rosa says, I saw on the Weather Channel show Pattern that 92% of the cars sold in China are EVs. Wow. I wonder if that's true. I didn't know that. And that'd be interesting to find out if that's how accurate that is. I'm not going to get any more into the middle of Kimchi and Michael's argument there. Ichabod Deer says, well, maybe I will, because Ichabod Deer's in it too, I guess. Because he says that Michael, right, cool. I'm a 59 former military contractor. I grew up right outside West Point. My parents taught there. Okay, that's nice. Wes Webb, I'm trying to wean away from social media, except for the Trucker John show. Right? Don't wean your way away from Trucker John. Stay at the teat of Trucker John. No, that didn't sound right. That didn't sound right. Think about deer. I did work for AI Corp before it was taken over by Techstrom. Big Dog NC says, "Oh, I totally get that West Webb. I totally quit all except Blue Sky and my glass collection group." Yeah, you got to keep those. Actually, those things are important because those are like really good ways to just unplug from politics. Like, so if you have a glass collection group or whatever, those things are important. Those are the things that are going to get us through the next few years, folks. If you have a hobby and you have something that's not political, and you can just take a break from it, go and do it, man. That's what's going to keep us sane and get us through these next few years. And Jolie likes to remind everyone that Trucker John, whoever that is, has channel memberships. Yes, we do. And super chats. And you can also support the show by liking, subscribing, and sharing. And you can also buy me a coffee over there at buymeacoffee.com. Thanks for that reminder there, Jolie, which was probably 15 minutes ago. But Christine Weibel says, what I said, John, was President Biden gave back Ukraine's nukes. Well, I didn't hear about that. This is the first time hearing of it. So thanks for that update. And if he gave them back, will that be a sufficient deterrent? Because if he gave it back, and if Putin is aiming ICBMs, even if they're not loaded with nuclear warheads, I don't know, man. Ukraine should at least have all their nukes pointed straight at Moscow, that might not be the tact, but to aim it all in one place. But I'm just saying that because I think Moscow, and that's where Putin is. Putin could be anywhere, by the way. But I was just speaking in general terms. But if they got their nukes back, they need to have them locked and loaded and pointed straight into Russia, and ready to hit that button. I'm sorry, folks. I'm sorry. I know that sounds like I'm a proponent of World War III, but what else are they supposed to do? Just lay down and let Russia take them over? Probably slaughter half of them? Is that what we're suggesting Ukraine do? Just lay down their arms and let Russia just fucking run roughshod over the country? And believe me, they might not kill all. What is it, like 40 million Ukrainians or however many? I don't even know their population, but he will kill a great many of them because Vladimir Putin is a fucking monster. He's an evil fucking monster. He gasses, his own people, or he gasses children. He's a monster, and so I don't know what you think that is going to happen if Ukraine isn't able to defend themselves. Floyd Price says, I was born and raised in the USA. Me too. And the wingnuts on Earth, too, will not like my reaction when they spew their BS at my table. Is there another Earth that you go to? West Webb says they pay the same amount for a liter as we pay for a gallon. Subsidies cannot be removed without unrest. That's why we need to get off fossil fuels and go to EV. Maybe EV won't even be the long-term solution, but I think it is certainly a short-term solution. Stephen Sayers says Kamala's campaign was so energetic, exciting, and feeling like no way she could lose. Exactly, Stephen. By the way, thanks for being here, Steve. I don't think if I saw you earlier or not. Thanks for being here, Steve. it was so energetic and everything. I mean, it had all the markings of this being another Obama campaign as far in terms of excitement, people turning out, and they didn't turn out. That was the thing. And like I said, we've been talking about the issues of the suppression and how big of a part that may have played in it. But it's just like I say, it does not pass the smell test. This does not pass the smell test. If you've been paying any amount of attention during that campaign, Trump looked like he was ready to pack it in. Did you see their RNC? It was pathetic. It was half empty, and even Trump was falling asleep. People were falling asleep in there. I mean, you couldn't get any more opposite of that convention to the DNC. I mean, where you had freaking people dancing in the aisles, and the place was packed to the rim, to the whatever you call it, the rafters. And it was this great speech after great speech, and everyone was just there was no one sleeping in the DNC. Not one, not even a yawn. The RNC was, it was a snooze fest. So none of this adds up. I still have a problem adding it up, and I know. And then we've talked about those suppression-ish things with the bomb scares and possible hacking and the surge, the purge, the purging of the voter rolls and all that kind of stuff. And I think those are legitimate concerns. Diane Russell, the lady with the cats, says, "I really don't think she did, Stephen." Oh, I was mid. Oh yeah, it says, "How could she lose?" And Diane doesn't believe that she really lost. And like I say, I find it still doesn't add up to me. It still does not add up to me. Juan Mesa. Hey Juan, good to see you. By the way, I don't know if I've ever seen you before in the chat, so thanks for being here. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share. I don't see House Sparks in here. Oh, keep looking. You never know. You never know. He might be. You might be Juan. You might be House Sparks for all I know. That could be one of Hal's secret accounts. You could be House Sparks for all I know. You just never know. You never know, Juan. Diane Russell said, "I thought it was bread and circuses at Big Dog." Oh, I'm mid-thread. If I ever read something, I don't know what's going on, I'm just going to say mid-thread. Michael Reich says, "So what do we do with when Russia wants to violate the 1959 agreement concerning resource extraction in Antarctica? They found oil in the English zone. I don't know what we're going to do. We're going to stomp our feet and hold our breath. I don't know. Of course, with Donald Trump in there, he's going to say, have at it. I don't know, probably." Diane says, "Oh, that would explain why Putin wants Alaska back." And okay, and I've heard people use this example before when we're talking about Ukraine. So and how they invaded Ukraine, and a lot of people don't seem to give a fuck about that. But what if Russia invaded Alaska militarily, started bombing it, and sending soldiers in there? Would we do nothing? Because it might start World War III? Would we do nothing? We're just like, I guess they got Alaska now. Good luck, Canada. They're at your doorstep now. More so. I'll just leave that lying there for a while. Let's see. I scrolled on down. Kimchi. That's way too mid-thread. Polar Vortex says Trudeau met with the orange orangutan at Magalardo yesterday. Instead, he had an excellent meeting. We'll see. And that's what you do. That's how you handle them. You got to kind of, say nice things, I guess. Hey, look at there. Jolie's got the Trucker John Blue Sky link. Yeah, you can go on there and give me a like or a follow. And maybe we'll have a conversation over there at some point. I'm scrolling on down. West Webb says people always lie. Sometimes they don't even seem to know that they are lying, which seems weird. Trump is one of those. If he made it up, it must be true. I think Trump knows he's fucking lying. He's not one of the ones that doesn't know he's lying. He knows he's fucking lying. I mean, it might be habitual to some extent, but he knows he's fucking lying deep down. Come on, man. Don't give me that shit. Don't try to make him sound somewhat sympathetic or whatever. No, he knows he's fucking lying. And when you're the president of the United States and you're lying, that's big. It's not like he's just on the golf course. He's just Joe Schmo, supposed billionaire on the golf course, and he lies about his golf game. I don't give a fuck about that. But when you're POTUS and you're lying, each time you lie, that could be thousands of people dying. Steve Sears, we should run another woman in the next presidential election. I guess. I mean, my first take was like, no, we're not running women for a while. We're 0 for 2. America apparently is not quite as not misogynistic as we thought they were. But maybe you got to get back on the horse, right? When you get knocked off. So I don't know, Steve. You might be right. And if because I loved Hillary and I love Kamala, and I would love to see maybe an AOC sometime in the future, or I don't know. There's a whole bunch of really good women, so I don't have a problem with it. Apparently, there are some people in this country that do. And also, like I said, I think if Kamala Harris had certainly if she had the full campaign time, I think she would have won. And even if she would have just had maybe a month or 2 months longer than what she did have in this one, she probably would have won, because we're seeing how close the margins were. But so I guess we shouldn't, or at least I shouldn't be, excluding women just yet. Here we got Lightfoot SP says Trump's wife, the first lady, and such. So weird. Well, anyhow, thanks for being here, Lightfoot. Thanks for being here. Good to see you. I hope you hit the like, subscribe, and share button. Hit the share button. That's a new button. It automatically subscribes and shares at the same time. They should have that. YouTube should make a share button. How about a Shasherla, a Shasherli, or a like share, where it goes like, subscribe, and share, all with one button, all with one click. I don't know. Not really sure. I don't get it. I'm scrolling down, folks. I'm scrolling down. All right. West Webb says, hey, we already know that a demented old man can do the job. So you're trying to say, I'll let you say it. I'll let you code that. Okay, you guys are mid-thread. I'm going to skip some of these threads if I'm mid-thread. Roxanne Arfield, hi, Walter Makarovich. Hey, Walter, I'm not sure if I saw you, so thanks for Walter for being here. Roseanne says, hi, Walter, sorry my chat keeps freezing. I'm trying to stay warm in the middle of getting my furnace replaced. And it's so cold that it makes the chat freeze, apparently. Hey, look at here, we got, Zolda's in, gifted a membership. Thank you so much, Zolda, I appreciate you. That is a fun way of supporting the show. And it looks like Floyd Price was gifted that membership from Azolda Zen. Thank you very much, Azolda. I appreciate you doing that. Michael Reich says at Azulda Deer, well, about the tech, I've been on it for 50 years, and there have been congressional hearings. That's what you pay attention to. Mid-thread, a mid-thread. Hey, another 50 kronar from Asbjørn Knudsen. Thank you so much, Asbjørn, for another great contribution to the show. Asbjørn says, USA, what do you say to let Russia do a Thanos and off half of you for peace? That's the choice for Ukraine. Time to step up and help. Well, we're going to do whatever we can, I guess. But what can we do? I mean, we can protest peacefully. We can contact our Congress people and let them know in no uncertain terms that we want Ukraine to have the full backing of the U.S. government in this war against Russia. Actually, the war is against them. Russia is the one that unprovoked went in and invaded Ukraine. So yeah, we need to be loud and vocal and let our representatives know that we want Ukraine to be supported militarily, financially, and also just have our support, moral support. So yeah, absolutely. Let's see. MJ Daniel, a white man would have been president. You mean like a Democrat if it had been a white man instead of Kamala? Maybe that made the difference. The sex thing, the gender. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, you might be right, MJ. It's kind of hard for me to just say yeah because I loved Kamala Harris. I still do, and I think she's a great person, a great human being, and she would have made a great president. So it's kind of hard for me to just go, yeah, man would have won. But unfortunately, you might be right. You might be right. I'm scrolling up here, so I'm kind of cherry picking some of your chats. So if you don't take it personal if I don't read one of your chats. I'm just sort of cherry picking. Michael Reich, I suspect Hal is in here in the guise of a kidney. Yeah, that's it. Big Dog says, old man Winter came to the NC like surprise, motherfuckers. Motherfucker. CN says, can I say that 80% of the problem is the three letters, FBI, CIA? They supposed to be on the law, the big hand, and still after more than 100 or more years, America has them white pointy hats. The FBI they're not perfect, certainly. Done a lot of bad things, especially, Hubert Hoover. I think he was racist, right? There's a lot of things, but overall, especially, I think especially in these last 20 or 30 years, I've seen story after story after story where the FBI has foiled lots of terrorism, whether it's domestic terrorists, whether it's foreign terrorists, that they're here. They come in because CIA handles the stuff abroad. FBI is here domestically, but I mean, I don't know. I've read lots and lots of stories where the FBI was able to foil and stop attacks and violence before they happened. And I think you can do that with CIA too. So I'm not going to just paint with such a broad brush and just say that they're FBI and CIA or whatever, that they're bad and evil and wrong. And have they had rogue elements or even I don't know, had done some, been led by bad people, of course, but that is not the organization, Floyd Price says, Joe, give us 50 years of his life. He is a great man, and we owe our gratitude for his service and sacrifice. He's been a good politician. Hey, Asburn Knutson gifted 5 Trader John memberships. Thank you, Asburn, again for supporting the show in that way. It's a great way to help support the show, and it's always fun to see who gets these. So let's see. Lightfoot SP got a membership. Darkly Yours got one. Amy O'Connor, Owen, and Guts Griffith. That might be Hal. I don't know. And hey, there's Mr. Spock. Rat count up to 5. I'm ramping up my defenses. Wow. I don't know if you were in here earlier. This is the first time I'm seeing of Mr. Spock because I've been scrolling down. So live long and prosper to old Mr. Spock. And good luck with the rats, I guess. Wes Webb says able-bodied boys from both sides fled the country to dodge the draft. Who can blame them? Are you talking about Vietnam? What do you mean both sides of the country? Weird sentence structure or sentence choice there. Word choice. Terrence Bunce, but I am mid-thread, so that could be a problem. Terrence Bunce is here. Hey, good to see Terrence. Terrence says that movie of Russian invasion of the U.S. Canada was called Red Dawn, released 1994. Yeah, that's one of my favorite all-time movies. And I guess they did do some invasion from Canada, but they also, I think, the way they explained it, they also came up through Mexico, and they used and Cuba, and they were using, and it was kind of eerily, pre 9/11. But I think the way, because they kind of explained it in through dialogue, it was what's his face's character. That he was like the colonel or whatever that they found the pilot, and he kind of explained how it went down, and that I think they utilized like commercial jetliners for the first wave of this invasion or whatever. I think that if I remember correctly, but it wasn't just through Canada. I mean, I think it was up through Mexico and through the South too, if I remember, because I know there were in the movie there were like Russian soldiers and stuff, but there were also Spanish speaking, which I think might have been Cubans. They tried to get that old Cuban element in there, but I don't know if they only invaded like from the north. I don't remember now, but anyhow, I still love the movie, and just I don't know, on in not getting too deep into it, because some people they take movies apart and they're like, oh, see this means that they're gonna, like in the movie Red Dawn, when they're going to the sporting goods stores and they're trying to find out who owns weapons, because I guess there might be receipts or something about who bought guns at these sporting goods stores. And so then I've heard people complain about Red Dawn saying, see, that's what's going to happen if we go on a national gun registry. Then everyone's going to know who owns the guns, and then that's how they're going to take the guns away. When I watch the movie, I'm just like, fuck, man. Those dudes are going to, they're being thorough or whatever. I don't know. And I'm just like, I'm glad all those ranchers have guns so they can at least, shoot those Russian Cubans. Anyhow, I just enjoy the movie. Because it's like, at the time, I was in my early 20s, I guess, when that came out. But still, I was young enough, close enough to high school age. I kind of related to the high school kids, and they're like the underdogs, and they were like the Wolverines. And it was kind of cool how this little group of American high schoolers, except for Patrick Swayze, he was a little bit older. He had graduated before, a few years earlier, and he was like the big kind of football star or whatever. And they led this group of these, basically high school kids, this little unit that they had, and they became this really kind of badass little, resistance to the Russian Cuban invaders. And And so I love that's a great kind of underdog story, you know. That's the way I looked at it. But all the right wingers, they're like, see, this is what they're gonna invade, and they're gonna, and they get all worked up, and it's like, come on, it's just a kind of it's a movie. Just enjoy the fucking movie. It's not meant to be a fucking, you know, prophecy, for God's sakes. But you could say it's I guess maybe a cautionary tale to some degree. But anyhow, Nick Oliver says, you're right, John. He does know he's lying. That's right. I was right. See? Nikki says I'm right. Christina Weibel says, I heard Kamala is running again. I haven't heard that. I heard people say that she should run again. And I've also heard people say that she might run for governor of California. I guess she could do both. If is Newsom is the governor coming up in 2026 for California? I don't even know. And if it is, I guess she could run for governor and win governor. And then 2 years later, she could still run for president. And then if she wins, she would just have to step down as being governor again. So in any case, I think she would be a great governor. I'd rather have her as president. But, you know, at this point, I guess we're all just speculating. And I haven't really heard one way or the other or anything. Kim, she says Kamala should pull a Trump and start her campaign now. Floyd Price says, thanks for the gift of membership, Trucker John. Well, you're welcome, and you can thank Asburn Knudsen. That's the person that donated that. So thank Asburn for that. But thanks for being here, by the way. I'm glad to see you here. 11 Times is here. I don't think I've seen that name in the chat before. Thanks for being here, by the way. Good to see you. And 11 Times says, Roy Cohn taught Trump to never apologize or backpedal. He knows politicians lie, so the result is to lie every time and blame others for lying. I think that's probably all true, but I do think that Donald Trump has been a liar his whole life. And I mean, regardless of Roy Cohn or regardless of Trump Trump's now a politician, like it or not. No matter how much you want to talk about draining the swamp and all that shit, Trump is a politician. He's ran for president 3 times now. Won twice. So he's a fucking politician. But, you know, even before that, I think Donald Trump has just been a habitual liar his whole life. Hey, Stephanie B2 is here. Hello, Steph. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us here in the driver's lounge today as I meander through the chat here and read them back to you. And then I add my own little pithy comments, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, Susie Jones, pathological liar, sociopath. Exactly. Diane Russell, the lady with the cats, says, hi, Tanya Johnson, but he'll be long dead by the time they grow up and all the nasty truth comes out about him. Are we talking about Trump? I don't know. Who's growing up? I don't know. That's what happens when I'm mid-thread. Hey, Tanya Johnson becomes a member. Hey, thank you so much, Tanya. We got a new member. Yay, Tanya Johnson. Thank you so much. We have another member. Thank you so much. We got 60 watching. I only showed 19 thumbs up. Someone earlier said we were in the 50s of thumbs up. So make sure you hit that thumbs up for me. Get us out there in the algorithm and all that good stuff. Kimchi says 3:57, so I'm about 13 minutes behind in the chat. Just so you know. Wes Webb says, I would love to watch the dynamics of the cabinet meetings a month or two after the beginning will spin. Okay. Ichabod Deer, Surfer Norm. Hey, Surfer Norm's here, I guess. Hi to Surfer Norm, by the way. Ichabod Deer says, as Surfer Norm, no problem. In 1991, I was working near Homestead Air Force Base, which I believe is Idaho, at a satellite facility with government contracts. Pan Am sat, and at least I remembered in my old age, laughing out loud. I still, unless I skipped over it, I still haven't seen the solutions from Ichabod Deer, or you know, of what Joe Biden should have done or isn't doing now, like realistic things. I still haven't seen that. I may have skipped it because I have been skipping down. J.A. Dickey says, Kimchi, I agree she needs to run again and start things now. The irony is in 2012, Mitt Romney almost won. In 2008, he only had 250 GOP delegates. Kamala did great on her first attempt. She did great for having a 3 month long. Was it? I think it was 3 months. About long campaign. Yeah, she did great. Just think what she could do if she had a 2 year campaign or 18-month campaign or whatever. Skipping down, Diane Russell says Putin also wants Fort Ross in Northern California as bad as well. I've never heard that one. Asmer Knudsen says Azola Dim, potatoes and yeast, and get you on the way. CN, it's the whole system. TJ minus Kevin. J. Edgar was FBI. But this minus Kevin says J. Edgar was the CIA. Herbert was the president. J. Edgar was FBI. Did I say Hubert Hoover? If I said Herbert Hoover, I meant J. Edgar Hoover, and I was talking about FBI. Terrence Bunn says Kimchi. Good afternoon. I'm trying to get used to Trump 2.0, but nevertheless, New Zealand looks appealing. Think about dear at Super Norm. Ben Rich worked for Johnson on SR-71, and did most of the F-117A himself with a very low budget. He wasn't happy with the B-2's cost. He could have done it for less money. Diane Russell, that would work for me as well. Kimchi. Carol Lana's here. Hey, Carol, good to see you, by the way, in the chat. Carol says, see, and sadly, this puritanical, too much testosterone America has too many women haters. I also had that feeling racist misogynists would win. Again, I just got to be honest. I knew we have misogynists and I knew we have racists. I'm not that naive, but I didn't think to the point that it was going to cost Kamala Harris this election. I really, right up to the minute of the election starting, I thought she had it. I thought she had it in the bag. And like I said, if maybe she had 6 months to run, it would have made a difference. That would have been enough to override whatever misogyny and racism that there is out there. Anyhow, I'm skipping down, guys. Skipping a bunch here. J.A. Dickey says when L. Patrick Gray replaced Hoover, who had passed away, this upset many of the agents directly underneath them. It's at that point in time when Deep Throat talked to Woodward and Bernstein. There you go. MJ Daniel says yes, because at the end of the Cuban commander. I guess we're going back to Red Dawn. Yes, because at the end, this is from MJ Daniel. Yes, because at the end, the Cuban commander lets him go because he is tired of fighting. Russia didn't need to fire a shot this time, though. Yeah. And I think he saw, that these were just kids and they were dying, and that one of them was dying or whatever. Spoiler alert, I guess. It's been a while since I watched the movie. I should probably rewatch it again. I love that movie. I still have the VHS tape in storage, probably. But anyhow, Carol Alana says, yep, but also other systems that the normal American refuses to see. There is more behind closed doors, and I could tell you, but I don't think it will hold. See, I still hear denial from some. Asmer Newton says, as old as in 20 years ago, I gave my grandmother watermelon soaked each day for 2 weeks in vodka. Eat fruit. That sounds actually kind of good. Susie Jones says, with Trump putting Hegseth in charge of the military, there will be a mass exodus, probably have to reinstate the jet. Well, we'll see if Hegseth gets through. I have a feeling he won't. It's going to be another one of those Matt Gaetz things. I don't think he's going to get through. And it's going to be, like I've been saying, getting the less smelly turd. I think we're going to end up getting maybe the less smelling turd at some point on that one. But they're all going to be turds. So just get used to that. And whoever Trump tries to appoint or gets appointed or gets through, they're all going to be turds. At this point, we're just hoping for the less smelly turds. That's all we can hope for. Please, oh Lord, please give me the less smelling turd. Um, yeah, yes, Buck. Our this Diane Russell is the one with the two cats, not the guitar player. Oh, Ichabod Deer, Homestead. Everyone says it's Florida. Oh, what's the one I'm thinking in Idaho? It's kind of like that base. I've only seen the signs when I used to drive through there in the truck all the time up through the interstate there. Anyhow, I don't know. And it's something like that. Like, I don't know. It's like Home Mountain or something like that. Mountain Home or something. I don't know. Let's see. We got Surfer Norm says, I love it, Diane. We share about the same history. I laugh every time I hear J.E. Hoover's name because I've seen the pic of him in the bra and panties. Susie Jones says, my sister was one of the first women in a combat zone, Bosnia and Somalia. She's a Black Hawk helicopter mechanic. Wow. Well, thank your sister for her service for us. I'll give Ichabod Deer, Michael Reich. Tulsi was a anyhow, there was something. Thought I saw something down there. Tulsi Gabbard is a lieutenant colonel in Army Reserve. Sadly, is she still in the reserve? Anyhow, Kimchi says, when you say whatever racism and misogyny is still there, that shows you don't understand. Everyone keeps brushing it off because we are embarrassed. But this is all on us. This is all on us YTs, like YouTubes or something. The numbers prove it. My point is that not everyone is a misogynist. Not everyone is a racist. All right? That's my fucking point. Carolina, I'm with you, Trugger John. My brain said Kamala would win. Trump is such a shit show, literally drooling. However, that pesky woman's intuition was in the background. Yeah, well, it should have been listened to more, I guess. We should have listened to that more. Diane Rosa said, yes, Silver Norm, I read he went by the name of Mary when he was cross-dressing. Evelyn Times, 11 times says kakatocracy. Yes, I've learned that word just recently. This is a kakatocracy. Someday I'll learn how to pronounce it. Where basically it's like the worst possible people are being put in these leadership positions. We're being run by the worst people. And like I said, I'm just hoping to get the less smelly turd, in each of these positions. Diane Russell, yes, Kimchi. Trump gave all of them permission to come out in the sunlight. Michael Reich, Big Dog NC Fort Seal, he pitched tents under the guns. Eventually, you learn how to tune it out. MJ Daniel, we have a couple of drawers full of VHS tapes going back to the 90s. Yeah, I've got boxes of them in storage. Minus Kevin, just clearing things up, Diane. Okay, mid-thread. I was mid-thread on that one. West Webb, well, we'll see, TJ or T-John. But the scuttlebutt political wisdom on the street is saying that all the rest will be passed. Hexeth included? I don't think Hexeth will. And I don't think Tulsi Gabbard will either. All right, skipping on down a little bit. Big Hook is here. Big Hook, the Big Canuck. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us in the chat room today. We just hang out. And Texas Paul, Big Hook says that Texas Paul was warning us all of the geopolitics. He is almost on the level of Malcolm Nance in terms of seeing the big picture. Yeah, Texas Paul is good. MJ Danny says Mountain Home, Idaho. That's what I-84 and I-20. We drove I-20. We drove through on the way to Sun Valley. I don't think there is an I-20. Maybe Idaho 20, you're thinking? I don't know. And if there was an I-20, it would be down in the southern, it would be somewhere between I-10 and I-40. Anyhow, but yeah, Mountain Home, Idaho. It is off the I-24. Yeah. Yeah, Floyd Price. I think Trump has blackmail files on his maggots and government offices that kiss his ass. That's why they flip so fast. That, and also there's always, the threat of MAGA. Like if there's, well, those are government offices, but if they're in any type of political office where they get voted in, then they get primaried and all that kind of stuff. I guess Mike H is here. I skipped down. I didn't see Mike H. So thanks for being here, Mike. If you're still here, good to see Mike in here. Nikki Oliver says my roommate didn't know J. Edgar Hoover was a cross-dresser until he saw the movie with Leonardo DiCaprio, which I never did see that movie, but I did know that Hoover was a cross-dresser. I'd heard of that before. Kim Chi, and yet blacks voted for Kamala, and we whites did not. I'm white, and I voted for her. Ichabod Dear, Steve Bannon's daughter is a West Point grad. Michael Reich, Eric Prince picked Bannon up from prison. Wes Webb says my best friend's wife thinks that I am a misogynist, but she loves me anyway. She accuses her husband of the same. Well, then maybe you are, and you should stop being one. Diane Russell says Wikipedia Norm, the film depicts a fictional World War III centering on a military invasion of the United States by an alliance of Soviet, Warsaw Pact, and communist Latin American states. Yeah, you should watch it. Watch the original. Don't watch the remake. The remake was fucking shit. It was stupid and disgusting. It was like it was a waste of whatever time it took me to watch it. I'll never get that time back in my life. It was a waste of whatever ticket price I paid. It was a waste of the popcorn I bought, the Coke I bought. It was a waste. Don't watch the remake. The original Red Dawn, 1984 or 3 or 2, I don't know, I forget now. Or 1. Patrick Swayze. It had a whole list of like great young actors from that time period. Great movie. And if you can just enjoy it for what it is and don't try to get all like this means this and that means that and this is that and this is that and we're gonna do this and that's this and this and then you watch it. Just fucking enjoy the movie. That's what I do. What? Big Dog Incest. I heard somebody out there saying something out in the courtyard. Big Dog says, Michael, I remember that joke. Get someone to say that over and over. Speaker. Big Hook says, Hexex's mother called him out as being an awful person. That alone should disqualify him. Diane Russell says, the story follows a group of teenage... we're going on with the Red Dawn. The breakdown here of Red Dawn. Diane Russell says the story follows a group of teenage guerrillas known as, and they weren't like gorillas, like like ape gorillas. They were like guerrilla people. Anyhow, of teenage guerrillas known as the Wolverines in Soviet-occupied Colorado. And why were they known as Wolverines? Because that was the mascot of their high school. And so they just went with that. Because they all went to this. It was supposed to be Colorado. They actually filmed it in where I went to college, Las Vegas, New Mexico. Not Las Vegas, Nevada, and not Mexico. Because a lot of times I will tell people, I went to school. I went to college in New Mexico, and they're like, "Oh, you went to college in Mexico?" And I'm like, "Did I say Mexico? No, I said New Mexico. Are you not hearing the word new? I went to college in Las Vegas, New Mexico." And they're like, "Oh," and they'll say it again. "Oh, Mexico? That's cool. You went down to Mexico?" No. Anyhow, yeah, I went to school there, college there, and that's where they filmed most of Red Dawn. And it's right down from, that's right down from Colorado. And yeah, but it was supposed to be taking place in Colorado. The high school they went to, their mascot was uh, Wolverine. So then they would go Wolverines. It's sort of like if that had been if that happened to me and it was like me and my high school buddies, then we would have been Sun Devils. We'd be going, yeah, Sun Devils. Anyhow, I'm just watching. There's a goddamn bug crawling up on the wall over there, and I don't have my raid with me. I swear to God, I'm moving. I'm going to be moving out of here. I cannot put up with the bugs. Anyhow, let's see. West Webb says lots of guys didn't see or feel the compulsion to vote. They didn't like either of them. And like I said, that's why what I'm saying. If she had a little more time to campaign, then maybe that would have made up for whatever little gap there was. I'm not saying, Kimchi, that we don't have a misogynistic problem and we don't have a racism problem in America. I'm just saying that if she'd had longer to campaign, she might have made that gap up and would have been able to win more people over, or just make more people aware of her. There's so many people that don't pay attention. It just takes more and more. It's like more and more reps, man. You got to get all those. It's like in football, when practice, you're getting reps in. Each play that you run, that's called a rep. You're getting your reps in. I just think she needed a few more reps, That's all. Carol Alana says, Susie Jones, my mom and her family, all from Twin Falls, Filer, Buell, and some in Napa and eastern part of the state. Mormons. Yeah, there's a lot of Mormons in Idaho. Think about deer, drones change everything. Susie Jones, Talk Racy. Goo Goo Gaga. Michael McAndrews, us good people voted for Kamala. Right. That's for sure. Think about deer, Hickseth, Sith Warlord, like Star Wars. Kimchi's watching Fafo vids. I'm getting freaked out. I thought I felt a bug on my leg, but there's nothing there. So. 11 Time says, cool stream, Trucker John. Sorry, I suck at tagging. No, that was good. It worked. Looks like it worked. Carol Alana, I'm enjoying the Fafo vids on YouTube. Jolie says, almost 2.5 hours. Oh, yeah, that's right. So far, I got a green light on the mic, but it might be time to maybe think about shutting down before the mic goes dead on me. Yeah, thanks for that reminder, Jolie. Left Wing Gorilla says, wasn't Big Bear the epicenter of an earthquake in the early 90s? Made my barracks shake in San Diego. Yeah, they've had a few up there. But I do remember there was one. I remember. I don't remember the exact year, but I remember one that was really sad because a little kid was killed when I think the house got shaken pretty bad, and they had like a big rock fireplace. And I think the fireplace just collapsed, and the kid was near it and got crushed by the fireplace. So yeah, they've had a few up there though over the years. Westwood the mouse that roared is hilarious. Also, the Russians are coming. Yeah, the going back to the old Russian scare of that sort of Bay of Pigs era. A lot of that stuff was coming up. Minus Kevin says his mom is right. Anybody who doesn't see Trump's credentials and just says, okay, I'll take a job is nuts. Kim Chi, why are you so defensive? I voted for her too, but we have to admit that America is still sexist and racist. Now what? I just look at it differently than you, Kim Chi. We have a misogynistic problem. We have a racist problem. I don't believe that makes us racist or misogynistic, because I think most of us aren't racist, and I think most of us aren't misogynistic. I believe that we outnumber them. So to me, that means we're not a fill in the blank. Now what? Big Dog says 420 just passed by blame the weed smell on Trucker John. He doesn't mind. Mike H hanging in there, watching time pass by. MJ Daniel, 84 connects to 20, which connects to 93. Those aren't all interstates. 84 is an interstate. 20 is not an interstate. I-20, if it existed, would be somewhere between I-10 and I-40, which is down in the south part of the United States. All the interstates that have even numbers run east and west. The ones that are odd numbers run north and south primarily. I-20 is not in Idaho. If there was an I-20, it would not be in Idaho. It might be Idaho 20, which would be like a state highway, or there might be a U.S. Highway 20. It would be just a U.S. highway, but that's not an interstate. Anyhow, I don't want to get it. Susie says I-20 goes around Anderson Ranch Reservoir. Then if they're calling that I-20, there's some sort of misnumbering going on. There's no way that an Interstate 20 would be up in the northern part of the continent like that. Doesn't make any sense. But then again, it is Idaho, and they're kind of whack jobs up there anyhow, so that are running that state. So I don't know. Like I said, if it's a state highway or a U.S. highway, yeah. But if it's an interstate, I don't see how it could be Interstate 20. Anyhow, I'm just trying to think what you guys are talking about. Left Wing Gorilla says, I knew a guy in Vegas who said he went to the Tijuana Institute of Technology, TIT. Nikki Eller, 111 likes. Thank you guys so much for likes. Mine still says 19, so, and it doesn't update. But thank you guys so much for all those likes. That's really, I like to be liked. It's nice to be liked. So thank you so much for the likes. Bruce says, my sister lived in Albuquerque, got the same response when telling me people I was going to New Mexico. Yeah, for some reason they don't hear the new part. And to that I say they need to clean the wax out of their ears. So that's what I say. I refuse to take the blame that I'm not enunciating the word new long enough or something. Anyhow, Carolina says, West Webb, on my maternal grandmother's side, Native America and family story was great. Grandpa killed a Catholic priest. One was rumored to have sold a horse to Custer on the way to Little Bighorn. Wow. That's good family lore. That's some good family lore right there. See, MJ Daniel, Highway 20 then. Yeah, it's Highway 20. There's a difference between interstates. If you're talking about interstates, that's very specific. Highway 20 is not an interstate, even if there might be sections of it that look like an interstate. It might look like a freeway. It might be a freeway, but it's not an interstate. So you can't say I-20. Yeah, Big Dog, I-20 is in Georgia. That's where it would be. Down there, down south. And if it goes through, it would go primarily, even though there might be some curves in it, and it might be going north and west, whatever, but primarily it's a east-west direction. That's its primary goal, is to go north, east and west. But like I say, there are big sections of I-10 that go north and south, but it's still a west to east or east to west interstate. Anyhow, Kimchi says, now we go back to my first and only suggestion to get at the root. Education, no idea how to fix the media, but fix schools for the future, hence wanting to axe the education part. Right. That's why these right-wingers wanted to axe the education department, because stupid folks vote for stupid candidates like Trump. Josh checking in for a cig. I don't have any cigs for you. Sorry. Diane Russell. Most remakes are shit. Trucker John. Yeah, don't watch the remake of Red Dawn. Just saying, because if you haven't watched Red Dawn, and you might go, and Trucker John's like, yeah, check out Red Dawn, it's a great movie, and then they're looking for it, they might come across the remake, which was sometime in the 2000s, and they kind of switched it around. It was supposed to be like North Korea or something invading, and it was stupid and shit. I mean, especially if you grew up watching Red Dawn, the original, there's no way you're gonna like the remake. No fucking way. West Webb, US 20, not an interstate, although it should be. Whatever. Whatever, man. Let's debate interstates. Let's debate what should be an interstate and what should not be an interstate. And if they did make it an interstate, they would have to change the number, by the way. You're not going to have Interstate 20 running through Idaho. Okay? Okay? Because up there, that's all the 80s and the 90s are up and further up. So it's all a grid. It's a big number grid type of thing. Susie Jones, it's a moot point. Highways, highway. It's not a moot point if you're a truck driver and you rely on knowing where roads are and how the interstate system works. Diane Wilson says, get a gecko, Trucker John. They'll eat all the bugs. I should get me a fucking gecko. Like, how do you do that? You just let them run around on the floor? I guess. I was thinking about what kind of pet could I get. Maybe I should get a gecko. I just don't know how you take care of them and all that kind of stuff. I guess I could learn. I'll just watch some YouTube videos or something. Ichabod deer I saw an Alaska plate in Chiclayo, Peru. I was like, what the fuck? Diane Russell, hence why the GOP was so focused on slashing school budgets. Carol West Webb, Route 51 is Route 39. Sometimes they piggyback, Wes. Sometimes the roads, they will piggyback on each other for a certain distance, and then they'll branch off. So they can be both at the same time if they're piggybacking. Sometimes a highway or a U.S. highway will piggyback on an interstate, just to make things even more confusing. For you, I would say somewhat amateurs. You're not really a professional like myself. You're not a road pro like me. Anyhow, guys, I'd like to end this before the mic dies. I'm pretty sure I've gone 3 hours on this mic. I don't know. The other day it cut off at 2.5 or so. So now I'm a little leery. Here we are at 2 hours, 26 minutes. Although I guess you could maybe subtract 8 minutes or 8.5 minutes, because the opening is 8.5 minutes, and I don't turn the mic on until that opening clip is almost over. Maybe that's the difference. I don't know. But anyhow, guys, Bruce, US 20 goes from New England to Pacific Northwest. Yeah, US 20 is a big major. It's just like US 50. Some of these US highways, they are major highways, and they go all the way across the country, but they're not a part of the interstate highway system that is a grid. It's a grid system, because before interstates, there was no rhyme or reason to how they were numbering roads and highways, and it was like a big spaghetti bowl, and there was no rhyme or reason to it. Like, why is one here, and then this is Highway 1, and this is right next to it is Highway 520, whatever. It was all a big mismatch, and it was confusing, but then as we started getting more developed with our transportation, we had bigger transportation needs. And after World War II, when General Eisenhower saw the Autobahn in Germany, and they had a pretty nice, I guess, highway system set up, and he's like, that's what I want. And Eisenhower, is the one that got his people together and said, design me an interstate highway system. And that's what they did. And they gridded it out. So all the even numbers go east to west. The odd numbers go north to south, and they grid it out. It starts from the bottom, from the southernmost. It's like Interstate 8 and Interstate 10. As you work your way up, you got I-40 and I-70, I-80, I-90. And then when you go the other way, starting from the west, well, I guess starting from Hawaii, I think there's Interstate 1 over there. I don't know. But then in California, you got I-5, and it goes all the way across. And you got I-15. There's I-25, I-35, all the way across, and all the way to I-5, I-95 corridor that goes all up down the East Coast. It's a grid system. And then you've got your highway loops, your interstate loops that go around. And so that's why you have like a 205 or a 405. You could have that, and that designates that it's coming off of that interstate, and it's a loop or whatever. So they have different things, but it's primarily a grid. I did not mean to end the show talking about the interstate highway system, but there you go. That's where we're ending it. I'm gonna have to end the show. I got stuff I got to do, and in the meantime, guys, just hang in there. It's gonna be a bumpy, tough next 4 years. Who knows how it's gonna shake out? That's why we need each other more than ever, to stick together, hang together, support one another, have ideas about what we can do as far as being active, being in this resistance against MAGA and against Trump, what we can do as far as contacting our Congress people or whatever we got to do, staying educated and informed. Let's do it. Let's stick together, because we will need each other now more than ever. But I believe we can get through it. I think we can get through it. We might be, bare knuckling our way through it, but we're going to get through it. And one way or the other, and just keep things going. Make sure we turn out for the congressional elections in 2026, and let's get the House back. Let's get the Senate back. Pray for the best, hope for the best, whatever we do. And I'm going to be here. I'm going to stick with it and provide a place where people can hang out, and we can argue about interstate highway systems, and we can argue about how misogynistic we are or how racist we are, and all those things. And hopefully when it's all said and done, we still walk away as buddies and as friends, and we come back to the next one. I'll be back next on Tuesday, 9 a.m. Pacific time, right here on the Trucker John channel, and we'll just keep going along. In the meantime, you guys, make sure you like, subscribe, and share the show, and watch my videos. If you see one pop up on YouTube, give it a like, give it a share, give it a comment. You can watch it, give it a little comment. I've got over 1,300 videos, lots of trucking videos, lots of me talking about stuff videos. I do a little bit of everything. I don't just do one thing. So I do a little bit of everything. And I'll see you guys in the other chat rooms, I'm sure, and I'll say hi to you. Say hi to you guys in there. And I guess that's it for now. So thanks for hanging out with me for these 2.5 hours. And but just as I like to do, I like to depart with a little word of wisdom, a little Trucker John wisdom. And so just remember this, guys. This is really probably the most important thing I'm going to say all day. Probably, this is the moment you've been waiting for. This nugget of wisdom, this gold I'm about ready to to lay down here for you. Okay, and so gather around, get near the microphone, make sure you hear it. I know it's only coming out of one speaker. Make sure you can hear me. Turn up the volume if you have to. But this is the most important thing, probably, of today's lesson, or words of wisdom from Trucker John. And here it is, right? Here it is, guys. You ready? Just remember that no matter
Well, it's time to say goodbye. The show has come to an end. But don't be sad, no, don't you cry. We're all gonna come back and meet again. Have some fun times, hopefully nothing too bad. We might talk about war crimes, might talk about Baghdad. I doubt we'll talk about door chimes, but if we did, I'd be only too glad. So hasta la vista, baby. The show is over, but could I ask you maybe to take a shower? No, that's not what I meant, but I couldn't think of anything to rhyme with over. Now my whole rhyming scheme is all screwed up. Oh shit, I should have stuck to truck driving, who I tried to kid. At least when I was out there driving, I could handle a skid. But doing this live stream, baby, has been a real kid. So I hope to see y'all again right here on the Trucker John live stream. We're gonna do it again and again, right here in the Trucker John live stream. Yeah, the Trucker John live stream. We're gonna come back and do it all again. No, this ain't no dream, this is where we win, right here on the Trucker John live stream. No, this time to say goodbye. The show is coming in, but don't be sad, no, don't you cry. We're all gonna come back and meet again. Well, it's time to say goodbye. The show has come to an end, but don't be sad, no, don't you cry. We're all gonna come back and meet again. We'll have some fun times, hopefully nothing too bad. We might talk about war crimes, might talk about Baghdad. I doubt we'll talk about door chimes, but if we did, I'd be only too glad. So hasta la vista, baby. The show is over, but could I ask you maybe to take a shower? No, that's not what I meant, but I couldn't think of anything to rhyme with over. Now my whole rhyming scheme is all screwed up. Oh shit, I should have stuck to truck driving. Who am I trying to kid? At least when I was out there driving, I could handle the skid. Doing this live stream, baby, it's been a real kid. So I hope to see y'all again right here on the Trucker John Livestream. We gonna do it again and again and again, right here in the Trucker John Livestream. Yeah, the Trucker John Livestream. We gonna come back and do it all again. No, this ain't no